Okay, so I saw this on Twitter recently and I wanted to talk about it. Billboard has finally completed their list of greatest pop stars of the 21st century, so here's going to be my thoughts on the list. Okay, so I guess let's start from the bottom and go to the top. So 25, Katy Perry, I mean, I guess she had three successful eras. She had the hits, you can't take that away from her, and now she's flopping into oblivion, so that's all she's going to get from me. 24, Ed Sheeran, it makes sense what he was able to do with like the Plus era and then Subtract, and he had the big songs like A-Team, Thinking Out Loud. He had collaborations with Taylor Swift. His touring continues to do well with him. I think he's gotten very stale and bland, but you can't deny the success that he's had this century, so I think that's fine. 23, Bad Bunny, to be an international artist, do the numbers that he's doing. I got respect for Bad Bunny. I don't really listen to his music, but he has good numbers, so I'll give respect where it's due. 22, One Direction, I can see it. The big success as a group, they had hits, What Makes You Beautiful, The Story of My Life, all the marketing that they had and everything, and there was just like a big machine behind them and all those successful eras and everything, number one albums, etc. So I'm not mad at this pick and everything. Harry's gone on to have a successful career. Niall is doing good things, and I feel like a lot of people didn't really expect that. Zayn is trying to kind of trend upward and everything. So yeah, that's some thoughts there. And I love Harry's solo career, and I like Niall too. At 21, Lil Wayne. And so I'm not as big of a rap listener and everything, but what I do know is a lot of people say he's been very influential to that genre with the Carter 3 and everything, and he's influenced a lot of rappers and stuff like that. So for his influence and everything that I've heard, I'm fine with it. Number 20, Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars, I used to hate his music. I really used to hate his music. And for me, it really just boiled down to his hits became so big that they got insufferable. I hated stuff like Grenade, When I Was Your Man. Uptown Funk is domestic terrorism. Always will have generational hate for that song. I hate that record. Okay, so yeah, his songs just became so big and everything. He has successful albums, and yeah, he doesn't really release that often, every couple years, but he's still able to be very successful. Silk Sonic album with Leave the Door Open was big. He had the big song with Lady Gaga. So yeah, it all tracks. Bruno Mars, very successful, kind of having that throwback sound and everything, make it his own. Good performer. So he has some songs that I like, but a lot of his big hits I personally find insufferable, but I'm not mad at this pick. 19, BTS. Already, what impact has BTS had? What impact have they really had? Like, I know they've been successful and everything, but I don't know. Maybe because they're in the army or something right now, so maybe I'm just not feeling the impact as much as I did in the past. I don't know. I'm kind of scratching my head at this pick, to be honest with you. They've had success. I'm not negating that. I just don't really get them being at 19, especially above Bruno Mars. Like, that really makes no sense. Bruno Mars, One Direction, like, pretty much everybody below them should be above them. So I don't get them at 19 personally. I really don't. And so I can get sense for intensity. I just don't get it. At number 18, The Weeknd. Yeah. I mean, in the beginning of his career, he had very much that, I believe, alternative R&B kind of sound going and everything. And then he crossed over to pop with Beat It Behind the Madness and Starboy. And on one of his albums, he had Blinding Lights, which I think is the most streamed song on Spotify, 3 or 4 billion streams, which is a lot. He did the Super Bowl, which was successful and everything. And so yeah, The Weeknd has really grown a big following. I believe he's selling out stadiums and everything. So yeah, I don't really listen to him that much either, but can't deny success yet again. At number 17, Shakira. I like what I know of Shakira. I haven't really gotten into her discography like that, but the English songs that she did, like the song with Rihanna, I thought was good. Even that Spanish song that she did, Biz Rap Volume 53 or whatever, that diss towards PK, iconic. She did the Super Bowl, so yeah, I like what I know of Shakira, and for her to keep having this longevity and staying power really says something about her career. Like, if she releases a song, she's going to get a top 10, and I think that's incredible for how long she's been in the game. So, I got respect for Shakira and everything. Number 16, Jay-Z. I mean, I guess, not really that familiar with his music and everything, that whole situation going on, which we got to let that play out. I don't even want to speak on it, but yeah, I don't really know enough to speak on it, but I mean, I guess. At number 15, Miley Cyrus. I'm okay with this. What she did with Hannah Montana, it will never be forgotten. Okay, she literally released, I think it was Hannah Montana 2. She out-debuted Kelly Clarkson on Billboard 200. Like, I'm sorry, we have to talk about that because that was history. Those Hannah Montana soundtracks were so good. And the fourth one is the best one. Okay, y'all sleep on Hannah Montana 4 because y'all too busy on Hannah Montana 3 and 2, but 4 is the best one for my money. And so you had that going on. You had her soul career and everything. Bangers was her first good album. Sorry, Can't Be Tamed, and the stuff before that was trash. I've listened to it. And so she had We Can't Stop, which was really good for the time. Wrecking Ball was huge. Adore You. It's one of my favorite songs in the album. Not one of the bigger songs in the album, but I still really enjoyed it. And so yeah, that was a big era for her. Younger Now, she had Younger Now, Malibu. She flopped for pretty much 10 years outside of that. I always say this. That's why people are like, oh, why did Doctor flop? I'm like, you haven't paid attention to her career. She had flop after flop after flop. I like her music and everything, but yeah, I mean, Karma came back to bite and everything. It is what it is now. She had Flowers, which was a big hit. So, you know, she's had her moments. I think she's inconsistent as an albums artist, but for what she did for the 2000s and just the moment that Bangers was for the culture, I can't deny it's about cultural appropriation, and that's what she did with Bangers. So I like Miley Cyrus a lot. I think she's talented and everything. I hope her next album is good. And at number 14, Justin Timberlake. I like Justin Timberlake's music a lot. As a person, it's absolutely chop. And love him or hate him, you can't deny what he was doing for the 2000s with the debut album, Justified, Cry Me River. I think it's so overrated. I'm over that song, but that was a big song for him. Like I Love You was a good single. I like Senorita a lot as well. Rock Your Body. And we know about that and the whole Super Bowl moment and all that stuff. So you had that as well. And then Future Sex Love Sounds. I think that was one of the best albums of that year, one of the best albums of the 2000s, and certainly up there in his catalog. When you had stuff like Sexy Back, for example, which was a huge song for him, What Goes Around Comes Around, Summer Love, which is my favorite song in the album. Apparently a lot of people don't go for it, but I really like that record. So you had that going on as well. And so yeah, a lot to like in my opinion, just in terms of the music side there. 2020 Experience Part 1 was great with Mirrors, etc. Man of the Woods was a chop, okay, and Part 2 was trash. I forgot, but Part 2 was trash. We already know that Man of the Woods wasn't good outside of like 3 or 4 songs like Midnight Summer Jam, Breeze Up the Pond, etc. And then we just got the new album, Everything I Thought It Was, which I think is really good. And everything. I think there's a lot of backlash due to the Britney situation, and rightfully so, but I think you can hold him accountable for that and be objective that the music is good. That's at least my take on it. I thought his album was good. I did a review on my YouTube channel and a Stage of 25 if you want to check that out. Number 13, Nicki Minaj. I mean, yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory, the influence on female rap and all that stuff, so I'm not really going to argue with that. Number 12, Eminem. I don't feel like giving Eminem 10 today, so I'm just going to move on. At number 11, I got Usher. So, yeah, I mean, Usher, what he did in the early 2000s with the Confessions album, I believe he sold 1 million copies first week, which is absolutely insane. That is a really hard thing to do. He had Yeah, which was number 1 for 14 weeks. I believe Burn was another number 1 single for him as well and everything. I think Here I Stand might have had some success, but it probably wasn't the same to Confessions and everything. He had his whole EDM era with stuff like Oh My God, and the EDM era of the 2010s is my least favorite music era, and I've said that before. But yeah, you know, he's had his moments, and you know, right now he's kind of launching a comeback. New album isn't that great. I did a review on it on YouTube too, so you guys can check it out, Anastasia 25. And yeah, have respect for him as a performer. I think he has some good songs, so I think that that's fine for, you know, his moment there. And then we're on to top 10. And number 10, Adele. I mean, yeah, and, you know, whenever she was debuting, you know, she made a moment with Chasing Pavements and everything. I think 19 is trash. I think she was just cosplaying Amy Winehouse, but a lot of people don't want to have that conversation. And then 21 was huge, you know, and what she was able to do with Rolling in the Deep and Set Fire to the Rain and Rumor Has It, etc. That was big. I thought 25 was good. Hello, I'm over that song, but the rest of the songs I thought were really good. And I thought 30 was a really good album too. So, I mean, I like Adele. She's talented. I think you'll give her too much vocally, but I like her. At number 9, we got Ariana Grande. You guys know I love Ariana Grande. She's done so much in the career and everything. I think 9 number 1 hits now and everything. She started off getting all the Mariah Carey comparisons and everything, and I love her. I will defend her. You know, I enjoyed A Ton of Sunshine, unlike a lot of people, and I thought Wicked, she was excellent. And so, yeah, Ariana Grande really has no contemporaries at this point, okay? Really has no contemporaries. I don't get the Taylor Swift comparisons, but I already talked about that before. But yeah, I just think vocally she's great. I think she's improved as a songwriter. I just think she's a great artist. So I am not mad at that with all the success she was able to have. My Everything era, Dangerous Woman, Sweetener, I think is her best album. Thank You Next with 7 Rings, etc. So I love Ariana. Number 8, Justin Bieber. I said this before. I used to be a Justin Bieber stan, okay? And, you know, love him or hate him, he had a lot of success, okay? Like, The fans didn't play about him. The fans didn't play about him. I own every CD, okay? And Purpose Era, that was an era, okay? Journals, that was a great album besides that one song with that man. Don't even get me started, okay? So, yeah, he had One Less Lonely Girl, also known as One Less Lonely N-Word. So, Justin Bieber at this point, not seeing heaven, not seeing heaven. Old music hate, old music hate. And I just don't get why a lot of people were hating on him for no reason when he first started. And now people love him when his music is trash. I really don't get it. But, yeah, you can't really deny it. 7, Kanye West, I don't feel like giving him a whole lot of 10s. I've heard about his influence with the 808s. It is what it is. And so, yeah. And now at number 6, Britney Spears. I said this before, but Britney Spears is one of the greatest pop stars of all time. Of all time. I am so sorry. And don't come over here and try to diss Britney Spears. I'm sorry. I said this before, but I believe it was last year. Her discography just hit me a different way. I don't know if it's because I got older. I don't really know what it is, but something just clicked. Something just clicked. Okay. And I have a lot of love specifically for the self-titled album. Okay. Y'all don't give that one enough love. She had Cinderella. She had I'm a Slave for You, Anticipating, Bombastic Love, Overprotected. I'm sorry, that was a great album. And then In the Zone, which I feel like you guys overrate, and I've discussed that before. But, you know, that's the album with Toxic and all that other stuff. So you had that going on as well. And so you had that moment, and then Blackout, which I think is one of the best pop albums of all time. I am so sorry. And people try to fight me on this. I'm sorry. Have you heard Blackout? Have you heard what she did with Blackout? I am so sorry. That shouldn't be up for debate. Okay, so I really enjoy what she did with that. And that's the one. Toy Soldier is very underrated. Heaven on Earth, Why Should I Be Sad is one of my favorite Britney Spears songs of all time. Okay, so yeah, that album, that means something. That means something. Okay, and just the electro pop and everything that was going on there. So you had that moment as well. And then Circus, which y'all underrate so much. Y'all underrate Circus. I'm sorry. Unusual, You, one of Britney Spears' best songs. Blur, absolutely 8. I believe Shattered Glass was on the album. That one was cute. If You Seek Amy, Circus, etc. A great album. And, you know, she had some albums after that with Femtile, which wasn't great. Britney Jean, which wasn't great. Glory, I think, was decent, but I think you guys give too much saying it's top 3, etc. But, I mean, yeah, whenever Britney came out, she made a statement, and people trying to model, you know, other artists after Britney. Look at what they tried to do with Christina in the beginning. Look what they tried to do with Jessica Simpson in the beginning. And other artists, everybody wanted to have Britney 2.0. Everybody wanted to do that. And Britney Spears, just as a personality, is just so electric, so charming. It's just what she's able to do on stage and how she dances and everything. And I don't know, I feel like people give Britney too much hate with the conservatorship and everything and all that. I'm just tired of people making all these jokes on Britney and everything like that. Say what you want about Britney, but she was huge in that era. She had the influence. It has been shown. She sold records. She got diamond albums. Not everybody can say that. Okay, so give respect where it's due for Britney. I have a lot of love for Britney. Okay, don't diss her in front of me. And so yeah, I gotta give Britney her 10s. One of the greatest pop stars of all time. I'm so sorry. At number 5, we have Lady Gaga. I like Lady Gaga. I do. I've only heard a few of her albums. I heard The Fame, I heard Joanne, and I also heard Chromatica. And I like Chromatica a lot. The other two, I'm not really that big on those albums, to be honest. And I'm going to finish up the discography with one of my friends soon. But yeah, I mean, she came and she was really, you know, mini business. She had Just Dance, she had Paparazzi, she had Poker Face, and Born This Way, Born the Way the Song, Marry the Night, etc. And yeah, just one of the most exciting pop stars that we've had, you know, of that decade. Certainly in the way she's been able to continue and have longevity. Applause. Y'all kind of underrate that a little bit. Should have been number one. Should have been number one. I'm sorry. What she was able to do with that movie with Bradley Cooper, A Star Is Born. She had a hit in Shallow. She did the Super Bowl, etc. I think Chromatica was a really good album. So I think she's talented. I think she's versatile. I have a lot of love for Lady Gaga from what I know of her personally. And now at number 4, Drake. You guys know I hate Drake. And so I don't feel like giving any Drake 10s today. So we can move on. It is what it is, I guess. And number 3 is Rihanna. Yup. I think Rihanna, she has to be another one of the greatest pop stars of all time, of course. And what she was able to do in the 2000s and just the digital sales she was able to have, I believe she had 14 number 1 hits. I mean, that's actually incredible. That is actually incredible. And, you know, the Girl Gone Bad era and stuff like that. She had Umbrella. Yeah, there's just so many songs that she had, Only Girl in the World, and just like all these other moments. Loud was a good album. Anti was a good album. So, you know, she has her moments and everything. I think her discography, you know, only half her albums is good, but, you know, that's a conversation for a different day. And so yeah, I appreciate what she's given us. And she actually did eras, like she changed her haircut, she changed her hair color. People don't do eras anymore. They got so lazy nowadays. But yeah, just a really fire personality, someone who is really cool and everything. So I like Rihanna. I do. So I'm not really mad at this for what she was able to do for the 2000s and everything. Hit after hit after hit. So we have to give some respect where respect is due there. And also shout out to her and all of her feuds that she's had with various celebrities like Ciara. She said, good luck booking that stage that you speak of. She fucking ate. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. So a lot of love for Rihanna. At number two, Taylor Swift. And yeah, I said this before. I'm a Taylor Swift fan. I have a lot of critiques of her and everything. So I think that might get misconstrued sometimes, but I really do enjoy her music and everything. And so, yeah, the first album, she had our song Teardrops on My Guitar. Those were some of the kind of moments on there. And then it was Fearless, where she really exploded and stuff like that. She had Fearless' song, which was a really good song for the album. Wasn't necessarily one of the biggest hits, but that had You Belong With Me, Love Story, etc. And I believe the album is diamond at this point. Most awarded country album of all time. Okay. We had the whole moment on stage with Kanye and all that stuff, so that was an entire thing. And so there was that. Speak Now is kind of underrated. It didn't really get the shine that it deserved, unfortunately, but I still think that stuff like Enchanted, Speak Now, the song, and Mine are really great songs that we should talk about a little bit more, but I liked that country pop kind of thing that she was going for on that album. And then we had Red, which is where she was really straddling the fence between country and pop, and she did it well with We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, I Know You're in Trouble, which is overrated and hasn't aged well. And y'all just do too much on it, but I kind of digress. Really good gems on there, like Begin Again. That has to be one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs of all time for sure. Treacherous, Red was another popular song of Sam I forgot to talk about. All Too Well is a fan favorite, etc. One of her best written albums. Is something that kind of grew on me over time. I used to think it was overrated, but now the more that I listened to it and took some time with it, I really respect Red for a piece that it is. 1989, that's when I got into Taylor Swift. Okay, 1989 is one of the greatest pop albums of all time. I don't care what anybody says. This is one of the best pop eras and pop albums ever. Like or hate Taylor Swift, she had bops during the era. You can't deny it, and the cultural impact that they had. Because now everybody want to do 80s synth pop with Carly Rae Jepsen doing it the year after, and maybe she was already working on it at the time, but Dua Lipa was doing it in 2020, and everyone kind of started to follow that wave, but nobody gives Taylor credit for kind of revitalizing the era in 2014. And I feel like we should have that discussion a little bit more. I'm so sorry. But Blank Space was a hit. That was a great song. And then she also had stuff like Shake It Off, which I really enjoyed. Welcome to New York was good. Style, the cultural moment that Style was and has done for everybody. People try their whole careers to make a song this time, I'm sorry. So you had that as well. I Know Places is underrated on this album. Clean is a moment for sure. So 1989, she really exploded, I would definitely say. Reputation, y'all overrate that album. She had stuff like Getaway Car, I Did Something Bad, and then she also had the lead single Look What You Made Me Do, etc. Y'all overrated. I don't even want to get into it. Lover, it kind of flopped, but it was good. Me shouldn't have been the lead single, we agree, but Cruel Summer was great. Miss Americana and The Heartbreak Prince, one of her best songs. Folklore, Evermore, Career, Renaissance, I think Folklore is excellent. That's what brought me back to Taylor Swift with The One, Cardigan, Last Great American Dynasty, My Tears Ricochet, Invisible String, etc. Evermore, Cowboy Like Me is one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs and stuff like that. And then she did Midnights, which I liked, and all the songs on there. I liked most of them. So I really liked Karma, You're on Your Own Kid, Maroon, etc. And then she did some of the re-recording. She did Torture Poets, which I think was a disappointment that I've already touched on, etc. She's done so many albums at this point. But if you just kind of look at what she's done with the Taylor's version and, kind of revitalizing her career in that way and inspiring other artists to re-record work. She took her music off streaming services for a few years because she felt like they weren't paying artists enough. That's why it was so stupid a few years ago when they were trying to drag her talking about, oh, she doesn't have a song that has more than 1 billion streams. I'm like, you guys know she took her music off streams for a few years, right? If she would have left 1989 up for those like 3 years or whatever, she would have multiple songs over 1 billion streams. Like that album was a very popular album. I think that that's a dumb argument, okay? And so you look at what her albums sell, having multiple albums selling 1 million a week, 2 million per week, etc. You look at her tours, her new tour just sold 2 billion in sales or something like that, and that's like the first time it's ever been done and everything. And yeah, Taylor Swift's been impactful. She sells well. I think she makes great music and just a big figure in pop culture. So like or hate Taylor Swift, with all for many controversies and stuff like that. I have moments where I disagree with her and everything like that, but the music, it sells. It is what it is. So Taylor Swift here, you can't deny the numbers that come out every single time she drops an album. And then number one, Beyonce. Yeah, I'm kind of shocked that they put Beyonce number one. I really thought that they would have gone Taylor Swift here, but I'm also a big Beyonce fan, actually. So I am not mad at this at all. Okay, we look at what she did with Destiny's Child, her hits there. We know about that, obviously. Dangerously in Love, Crazy in Love, one of the best kind of debut single moments of all time. You might say, oh, Work It Out was her debut, but come on, we don't really count that. Let's be real. That was her soundtrack. That wasn't the relaunch. Crazy in Love, that's what was really the moment. So you had that as well. B-Day, one of my favorite Beyonce albums. Kitty Cat, I have a lot of love for that and stuff. So You had that moment, kind of just jumping around. Sasha Fierce was big, Single Ladies, Self-Titled was big, and China changing the release date of albums and stuff like that. Lemonade, a cultural moment, Renaissance, a cultural moment, etc. Her tours do well. She's a big moment as an artist. She's been influential. She has longevity. Beyonce is incredible. I'm so sorry. I don't get people who hate Beyonce. If you don't like her music, that's one thing, but people who just hate on her for no reason, it's a walking red flag. I'm so sorry. She's incredible. What she's able to do time and time and time again. I saw her live, Homecoming, etc. She deserves all the praise that she gets and more. So I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this. And let me know your thoughts down below on the list. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Who do you think should have been on there? We can continue that conversation.